Hello and welcome to Storytime. We are getting close to the end of the Bible now, but today we carry on with a story that we started last week. And here's Paul over here. He's in, what's this city called? Jerusalem. Can you say Jerusalem? Paul is in Jerusalem. He's been arrested by the Romans and the Jews are bringing charges against him because he is spreading the good news about Jesus. So let's put Paul there and let's put a Roman soldier here as well. And Paul is in the Roman prison or the Roman barracks. He's in prison at the moment. And we are told that the Jews have a plot to kill Paul. Now, Paul has a sister. Look, you might not know that, but this is his sister. We don't know what her name is. We don't really know what she looks like either. But this is his sister. And she has a son. And we don't know his name either. So this is Paul's nephew, his sister's son. And do you know what? The nephew, this young boy, he found out, he heard that there was a plot to kill Paul. In fact, he heard that the Jews were planning on going to the Romans and asking Paul to be brought to the Roman council. And on the way, they were going to ambush and try to kill Paul. Well, his nephew got a message to Paul and told him. Paul said, go and tell the Romans. So do you know what? He went off and he told the Roman all about the plan to hurt Paul. Well, the Romans decided that they were going to transfer Paul. They were going to send him off to another city, the city where Paul had stayed when he came back from his third journey, Caesarea. And so during the night, without the Jews knowing about it, Paul was transferred by the Romans to a place called Caesarea. Can you say Caesarea? Great. So, that's over here, we'll say. So here's a Roman soldier. We don't need Paul's sister anymore, or his nephew. So Paul gets transferred overnight to another. He's still a prisoner. Here he is, look. Here he is here. And he gets transferred to Caesarea. This is supposed to be Caesarea. Okay. And the governor of Caesarea is called Felix. Not Felix the cat, but Felix. And let's put Felix here. So Paul becomes Felix's prisoner. Okay. And Felix would listen to Paul's message, but from time to time, look who this is. This is the high priest. He is the high priest of the Jews in Jerusalem. He came up to Caesarea. He brought a lawyer with him, and he also brought some of the leaders as well. And they tried to persuade Felix to persecute Paul, to charge Paul, to keep him locked up, maybe even to have him crucified, because they did not want him to be spreading the news about Jesus. But you know, Felix, just like really Pilate when Jesus was alive, could not find anything really wrong with Paul. So he kept him in prison. And you know, he would call for him from time to time, and Paul would speak to him about Jesus. Well, after a while, Felix was moved on to another place, and someone took over from Felix. His name looks like the same person, doesn't it? We're pretending it's someone else. He was called Festus. And Festus is now in charge of Paul. And the Jews, they kept coming back, bringing charges. And I think Festus was probably a bit fed up with all of this. He had a visitor one day. It was King Agrippa. And he was a friend. He got him to listen to Paul. And Paul tried to make him become a Christian at the same time. Well, the story goes on. And because the Jews were so persistent, Festus decided, or had in mind, that he was going to send Paul back to, what's it called? Jerusalem. Back to Jerusalem to stand trial before the Jews. At that moment, Paul decided that he would get out his passport. Well, not his passport, but he told them, he said, look what I've got. And he showed them a piece of paper that showed that he was a citizen of the Roman Empire. Now, that was a very, very special thing to have. It's a bit like getting his passport out. And he said these words. He said, I appeal to Caesar. I want my case to be heard by Caesar. Caesar? Where did Caesar, the Roman emperor, rule from? I've given you a clue. He ruled from Rome. Do you know, last time I told you that God had spoken to Paul in a vision and said to him, Paul, don't worry, you will tell people about me in Rome, which is the country of Italy today. This was Paul's way of getting there. And so Festus had to send Paul to Rome because he was a Roman citizen. So, okay, shall we send him to Rome? He went by, put it down here, he went by ship. He was put on board a ship. There was a Roman soldier, a centurion soldier called Julius. He was put in charge of Paul, and Paul was sent to Rome. Now, someone went with him on board that ship, and we know that. Do you know who this is? It is Dr. Luke. Luke, who wrote about this afterwards in his gospel called Luke, and also in Acts as well, which is where this story comes from. He was with Paul, and he was also a doctor, so he probably helped Paul when Paul wasn't well. Well, they made the long journey with lots of other prisoners on board the ship. In fact, it says there were 276 of them. And something happened. That ship never made it to Rome because there was a shipwreck. Yes, there was a shipwreck. And Paul had a visit. He had a visit of an angel on board the ship. And he called the people together before the shipwreck happened. And he told them what was going to happen. And he told them what to do. He even told them to eat because they weren't eating. And he took a leadership role on board that ship. The Roman soldier even liked Paul as well. But they were shipwrecked on an island. This is the island over here. Does anyone know the name of this island? It begins with the letter M. Have a guess? No. Have another guess? No. It was Malta. Sometimes we can go on holiday to Malta. He was shipwrecked on Malta. And you know, it was pouring with rain when they got to Malta, and they were all shipwrecked there. And while Paul was on the beach with the others and they were trying to build a fire to keep warm, a snake was amongst the bushes and it bit Paul and it was hanging from his hand. All the people, let's put the people here, all the people were watching and expecting Paul, because it was a poisonous snake, expecting Paul to drop down dead. And when he just brushed the snake off, they thought, wow, he must be really, really special. Maybe he's a god. But Paul told them about Jesus. Well, the governor of Malta, let's put him over here. This is the governor of Malta. His name was Publius. That's an interesting name, isn't it? And he invited Paul and the others to stay at his house. But his dad wasn't well. This is his dad. His dad was very sick. In fact, he had diarrhea and sickness. And Paul prayed for him in the name of Jesus, and Jesus healed him. Wow! News about that spread throughout the whole island. And then all the other people started to bring sick people to Paul. And in the name of Jesus, God healed them. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that absolutely amazing? Well, after a while, another ship came and they put Paul on board that ship with the Roman soldier. And who's this? And Dr. Luke as well. And they made the journey to Rome. We'll take that down because Rome, we'll say, is up here now. And Paul was able in Rome. He waited trial before the Caesar, who could have been Nero. Let's put Paul here. He was able to stay in his own house. Oh, put him straight. In his own, he rented a house there. He had a Roman soldier who looked after him in that house because he wasn't allowed to leave. But what Paul did have, actually, let's turn him round and put him standing up. What Paul did have was lots of visitors. Lots of people came. And he was allowed to have visitors in that house. And when they came to him, he told them all about Jesus. And so Paul, we finished today's story with Paul under house arrest in Rome. This is the last chapter of the book of Acts. It's the last part of the storyline in the New Testament of the Bible. Paul is very much alive. We know that Christianity is beginning to spread even through the capital city of Italy, through Rome. It's even beginning to work its way into Caesar's own household. I'll tell you a little bit more next time we come back, but this is today's story time. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. God bless.